I don't know if this is streaming or not. Um, I am not watching tennis, but I am. I've been freaking out all morning about other stuff. And I had the sound off, so I wasn't even hearing it. Um, I'm trying to do some things around the house. I don't know. There's like only one day where the weather is perfect for everything, and it's like I can't do everything on that day. And then I started freaking out about other things. I started panicking about stuff. And all of a sudden, it's already 2 sets are done in the tennis. I didn't realize the tennis was on at first because I've been panicking for that long. I had it on Channel 10, NBC. But I've been freaking out about things, all the stuff I don't get done, I don't get accomplished, it's because I'm freaking out about something else. So I never get my long-term stuff done because there's always some emergency going on. It's been like that for years. And then in the times when there aren't an emergency, I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. I need to calm down. Normal people can handle all this stuff like nothing. They get it handled like that. You know what I mean? They got a problem. They got money in their pocket. They got to know how to handle things. They just call a guy, get everything fixed, and everything's okay. For me, everything's always a hassle. Everything's always a complicated nightmare. So now I'm going to pay attention to tennis for this set anyway, just to see if I can't calm down a little bit. But I was going to root for Tsitsipas. He's way ahead, so I don't even know him. It looks like the stream is sticking. I'm not really doing anything else. Like the other day, I was running other programs in the back. I'm not doing that. So this is what I look like when I go outside. I had gone so stupid. I was panicking. Then I just said, let me run to the store. Ran to the store, came back. Never took my hat off. Never took my bandana off. I just started doing things, and my brain's firing way too much, and but here's the thing with these matches: when you have like really hard matches, it's insane to. Now I don't know what was going on in that Djokovic Nadal match, but they were working each other way too hard for them to have to come back and play somebody else. So obviously, just from that, that's an advantage. I know they're supposed to recover and everything, but they were both just. That was knockdown, drag out fight for 3 sets, and then the fourth set just. It's too much at some point. It's not a number of sets, because we've all watched 5-set matches that went on to forever because of the good old days. But it's the amount of exertion that was going on in every point of that match from the beginning almost, so it's a concentrate. They make concentrate from. What movie was that? I don't even know if I saw that movie, if I just knew the quote because other kids said it. It was a teen movie, though. I know that much. What time is it over in France? We figured out the other day that it was 6 hours difference. So it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But I buy these cupcakes, and then it's stuck again, right? See, I'm not running anything else. I have to just, they're the Walmart ones. I just have to let them fall into the, I just throw them in a bucket and then eat them with a spoon because they fall apart. They're so soft. Let me see if the volume's on because I had unplugged the microphone before. See if I can hear myself. That's a shark. The ground. I almost said the grass. The clay doesn't look that disturbed, but they must have come out and fixed it just now, right? At the beginning of the set, because it's just, unless they haven't been running at all, which would be weird. I'm just sitting here right now. I feel really low. I just felt the, you know, I watch all these videos. Like I said, I watch all these manifestation videos and stuff like that. And here's why. I know it's fruity. I know it's silly. But I look back on my life and I see a lot of effort that came to nothing. Actual effort, boots on the ground, showing up. And when I look back for a reason why things didn't work out, it has to be something more metaphysical, esoteric, because I put in way more effort than a lot of people to end up with nothing. So, not nothing, but end up not accomplishing anything that normal people accomplish. And other people seem to do it easy. Like they walk into situations, they just, you know, whether it's things they wanted to or not, things land in their lap. They don't have to run around all over town every day to have things happen for them. And so I watch all these manifestation videos and stuff like that, and vibrations and chakras and all that. And you know, I try so hard. And you know, the only thing about that stuff is that if you really need things to work out, you get an idea. And this is why I didn't like The Secret, because it's the same thing as The Secret. You get the idea that somehow that one moment that you got nervous, or that one moment where you got afraid of things, or you didn't feel right, or you were negative about stuff, is going to somehow ruin all your progress of trying to be positive and manifest this and that. And it's like, nobody can live by that standard. That's why I'm like, yeah, you want to do well, you want to keep a positive attitude if you can, but like the thing that gets me is a lot of the times the reason I'm negative when I am negative is because I wake up that way. You know what I mean? Like, say I fall asleep 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm in a relatively pleasant mood or decent mood or whatever. I was just watching something, or you know what I mean? And I go to sleep. And I wake up bad. Like, I wake up thinking negatively. And I wake up not every other day, but let's say average on every third day. I'll wake up like panicked almost. Like I was having a dream where I was running or something, and I'll wake up like, you know, but I'm not having those dreams from what I can tell. I just wake up like almost out of breath and scared to death. I wake up that way. And I have to calm myself down. And then my situation is bad, but I'm not in a panic. Maybe I think other people would be in a panic. But because of all the fruity videos I've watched over time, I don't end up, I don't feel like it's right to be, it doesn't help. Put it that way. It doesn't help to be panic stricken and running around like crazy. And because when you're panicking, when you're freaking out, just like this morning, it's very hard to do things. Now this morning, I'm trying to do and panic at the same time, because I'm like, you have to do things. Because even if what you're worried about is true, you still have to do things in order to fix it. Meaning, do something right now in the moment in order to be able to fix a thing. And it's like, I know I need to move on. I can't. What I'm asking myself is, why doesn't a path line up? Why don't I see a path? Why don't I, if I'm supposed to do this and do that, why don't I see the way? You know, why don't I see a way forward? Why don't I have an idea of what to do? I don't have an idea of what to do. I know I can tell you what I should have done at different times, but in those times, I was under the impression that I couldn't, and I still don't know if that was true or not. So even when I look back at what I should have done, I don't even know if that was actually possible. You know? That's why people, when they talk about people living in the past or getting stuck in the past, is because you're trying to think about the future. You can't come up with anything. So when your brain's trying to solve something, all it tries to solve is, how did I get here? What did I do wrong? Because you're trying to look for the information you needed back then, because maybe it's still the information you needed now, or the solution, or whatever, to figure out, if I was supposed to have done something back then, what was it? Because maybe if I figure it out now, I can do it now. But that's what happens to me. That's what happens to me a lot of time, trying to figure out what to do right now. I know it seems simple for other people. They would just do this and they would just do that. But I think it through. A lot of people, you know, it's funny. Like I said, I watch these people. I watch pick a card people, tarot readers, and, you know, I saw a lot of people, and even in the news media now, there were a lot of people who, during the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic, when I thought we were supposed to be all locked down, they hurried up and moved. They moved states. You know? Or, you know, and one person who moved has said they have to move again because that was the wrong answer. And I'm like, I'm not the kind of person who can do that. I'm not the kind of person who, you know, I haven't rented an apartment. Actually, I've never rented an apartment on my own. I was always somebody's roommate back when I lived in New York, and they were on the lease or something. I didn't want to be in a situation like this where I lived and stayed in the same place, but I have done for a long time. I don't even know how to be a hustler if I could. I don't have the strength, the energy, the fortitude, any of that stuff. What are they showing? I don't remember Novak Djokovic doing that stuff. Djokovic. What the hell? I don't remember Novak Djokovic doing that kind of stuff like that really boisterous type stuff back when I used to watch. I guess he got worse over time. So he did end up breaking. I looked away. I looked at the screen. He did end up breaking that. So yeah, so I just end up, that's how people focus on the past, is because they don't know what to do in the future. And I hate everything you hear people, don't do this, don't do that. Whenever people are giving advice, or you're living the past, or you're doing this, it's like, people do the things they do to get by. People do the things they do to heal their mind. You know, so many people think they're hot shit because they figured everything out. But then they're doing horrible things to cope with the shit they're not horrible things. Sometimes they just drink. Sometimes they do bad drugs. But sometimes they become horrible people to other human beings. in order to work out the crap they're suppressing on a day-to-day basis to, go to that job they hate, or um, be the huge executive. All that tension and stress comes out in other ways. Sometimes it comes out in bad ways that harm others, you know. So it's a tricky slope to try to push yourself all the time, have it come to nothing, do all this self-care they talk about, meaning just relaxing when you have the time, and then still getting anything done. When I think, just like I said, since my mom died, since the pandemic, so since September of 2019, when I think the amount of effort I put in and how I'm worse off now than I was then, trying to pay attention, trying to keep track of things, trying to watch out for bad guys, trying to do everything I possibly could in my own favor, and it still gets screwed up like this. It's still a total mess. That's why I was trying to let go and let God for a long time now, even before this stuff happened, because it was clear to me my efforts don't do a lot, or I act in backwards ways that mess me up. I don't know. See, maybe this is what Novak Djokovic does. Maybe he uses the first couple sets for a warm-up or something, because if he's got better endurance than the other person, or if he can count on that, then that's a good play in a way, But, so I could be in the middle of a crisis right now, but I have to sit down. There have been so many things that happened during lockdown. There have been so many things that happened since my mom died. But when it was in that probate time, when it was during lockdown, I felt like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. And that allowed me to feel some kind of peacefulness, that I was like, as much as I would panic about something in the day, once I realized I didn't have the money, I couldn't do anything, or because of lockdowns I couldn't do anything, I just learned to surrender too much. But now, because apparently a lot of those restrictions aren't there anymore, now I feel like anything that happens is going to be my fault. Like it wasn't my fault all that time. Now anything that happens is my fault. It sucks. Because when it got to the point where I could do something, I think my brain atrophied, or like I said, last September 2020, when I found out the year deadline that I thought I just had to make it to was actually extended indefinitely because of the lockdowns. I really think a piece of my brain broke, or I blew a tube or something, because I was trying to make plans, trying to think of things. I had ideas about what I was going to do, and I was just waiting for that day, and then that day I found out 2 days before that day that day didn't even matter anymore, and that I was still stuck. And once that happened, I think something broke in me. I couldn't plan anymore. Why do I hear? Oh, is this just me that I'm hearing through the headphones? Yeah. I was like, who's talking? So that's in September, and I was hoping that, things would become clear, after the election and stuff, or I would figure something out. I was hoping to figure something. At that point, I was like, I have to figure something out. I haven't been able to think. So all I've been able to do is react to what's happening in the day. I panic about certain things. These things happened over here. So much stuff happened. Daily panic stuff, right? So 2 days ago, I was not knowing what to do. So I get panic things starting yesterday. Stuff around the house. Is this an emergency? Is this a crisis? I can't do anything about it, but you have to. Until my brain wants to just melt. And the worst part is, some of it is stuff that I don't know. I was watching somebody do a reaction to Donnie Darko, which ends up making me feel bad, because I think Donnie Darko is one of the DVDs in my storage which is supposed to be past due to the point of having to go to auction now. So I'm trying to in my heart, unless something magical happens and I have money to get the stuff out. I don't even know. The guy, like I said, the guy would not tell me that Friday was the last day. He'd try to make me think there was some way for me to still get my stuff after that, but with no money, you know, it's stupid. Anyway, I was trying to emotionally deal with the fact that the stuff that I still had in there, I try to get most of the important stuff out, but the stuff that I still had in there, you know, it might be gone now. And I tell myself, well, I was trying to deal with that in myself, you know. So it happened to see somebody watching them doing a reaction to Donnie Darko. I was thinking about how many times I wish that a plane landed on this house with me in it, or something, so that I just wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. You know? It's stupid, and it's horrible. And I know to think that when so many people don't even have anything, and I've been trying to be grateful, but it's like, you know, to some degree, all these years, it was the thing holding me back, being stuck in this spot. But once the pandemic happened, and it happened exactly at the time where I needed to move on, it seemed like all the places I would have gone were no longer an option, or just going around and doing any kind of finagling that I would have done in my situation wasn't going to be able to be done. Like I said, I spent a lot of the pandemic trying to accept that every plan I thought of went up in smoke without losing my mind. You know, the people who, they don't understand when people have a lot of money and stuff, and I'm not saying they don't have problems, but they don't understand why people who don't have a lot of money don't want to hear about how bad they feel, because for a lot of poor people, the problems that they have are going to be solved by money, you know, and, you know, it's really stupid. It's a really stupid way to live. I can't even pay attention to this match. It sucks too when you're alone and you don't see. Everybody else was alone, but they were doing Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, or Zoom. Even the kids who had to do Zoom classes and stuff like that. They don't. The people whose lives still went on to some degree during the lockdowns don't understand what happened to those of us who were very much out in the world all the time, and that's how we were existing, and to then be just stuck in the house and isolated all the time. Even trying to get help or trying to figure out things. Like I said, I would call people and not get the information. This morning I called 211 in a panic because of other things and I'm like, if I had tried to figure that out a million times, to call and ask that specific question, I would have never been able to figure out to do that before today. The specific question I asked. Because I've called around, I've called agencies and things like that, trying to ask questions and trying to get information, and so many dead ends, so many people telling me the wrong stuff, not helping me out, wanting me to do things that they think I should do, which doesn't make sense for my life at all. And this is why I have these things in my mind that feel like I don't have control, because I wouldn't have, like I said, I wouldn't have known to do things, I wouldn't have done things, I wouldn't have this and that until this moment today because of that, and asked that specific question. And I wouldn't have got that information. If I had that information 2 months ago, everything would be different. I wouldn't be complaining about the stuff but I wouldn't have thought to ask the specific question the specific way. And if I had called, I might have got a different person on the phone who would have told me other stuff. Because in the very beginning, I know a lot of times I call ahead of time. And I know when you have a or you're on the verge of a problem in society, the places that help, they don't help until you are already at the bottom. So if you're trying to avoid being on the bottom, it's very hard. If you're trying to look for help, just advice or information, so that you can figure out something real quick, there's nobody there to tell you. There's only people there to tell you what to do once everything blows up in your life. You know? But, and then during the pandemic, because they kept changing things, you had to, things you weren't, like, things that you weren't eligible for the year before, you were eligible for. Things like food stamps, internet stuff like that. Stuff that you couldn't have got that help before the pandemic, then you could get it. And that's why more things start opening up. But if you don't know every single thing, and you don't know a bunch of people, and you don't know people who actually work in the industry and who are counselors or something, how are you supposed to know? You know? I am sitting here watching this match. Like I said, I'm going to watch the third set. If it goes on or not, it doesn't matter. I'll get up and do something, because I got to do stuff. But it's been hard to be alive for me for a long, long time. And I just don't understand. Like I said, all the effort I have to go into to keep existing. For what, though? I understand that God has a plan. He's always had a plan. I believe 100% that He wanted my life to go as shitty as it has every step of the way. Because, like I said, my efforts got stomped on. I kept getting knocked down. Kept getting up, knocked down. Getting up, knocked down. To the point where you're like, there must be a reason for this. I must, you know. I look back, there were no forks in the road. My whole life was one straight path down the shitty road. And any time I looked for an exit, try to make an exit, people don't understand. So that's why it's hard to talk to anybody, because it's just like, why don't you just do this? Because that's what they did. Or why don't you just do that? Because that's what they did. Because they could. That's why the pull yourself up by your bootstraps crowd. I don't understand this set. This is what I'm saying. If Djokovic was doing so bad in set 1 and 2, or not so bad, but why is he suddenly blistering the third set? This is what I mean. I feel like maybe, I haven't been watching for a long time, but maybe that's his MO, to just wait and let his opponent knock themselves out for the first couple sets, then kick in, you know? I feel ineffectual in my own life, and I feel like the things that happen to me are fated. Or if they're not, then I don't know. I know there's no good reason for me to keep on going. I'm not saying, I'm saying, for whatever reason, I'm still here. If God has a plan for everybody, like the way people say, or if people have a purpose and all that jazz, it's not for my benefit, me sticking around. If I'm supposed to be alive at 50 to one day push a more important person out of traffic, and that's the whole reason I have to keep existing, maybe that's what it is. But For right now, I'm just going through it, and I'm always having to panic about something, deal with that situation, try to recover from that in the time I have off, try to figure out what I'm supposed to do with my life. That answer never comes. So I'm saying the background stuff which should be me planning for a life or having a life or something like that, never get around to it, because when I do have time to think, I can't. There's no, when I sit there and I think about what to do, there's no road. That's why I just do what comes to me. I started trying to do what comes to me in the moment, and hopefully that'll work out. Follow my intuition, try to do things like that, but my intuition's been on the fritz. I haven't been, apart from panic things or ideas of what to do with no real information, nothing to really help me out. I don't know. So, okay. So he's only one break behind. If he breaks him here, he can win. And I would hope he would do that. Because, like I said, it feels like Noel's just biding time or something. So there's still social distancing in Paris. Because it's weird. Look, there's people all in the front here, and then that whole back section, they're not got anybody. Not the back. I'm saying the back of the front section, like behind the service line. There's people in like the first 5 rows, and then the next rows they're all empty. Do people just not buy tickets? On top of that, every day I do kind of feel like my life is at a crossroads every day. But I'm tired. I'm mentally tired. I'm scared all the time. See, I was a scared, panicky kid. My mom was like a so what kind of person. So her living in this house, her doing things the way she did, the way we lived, I was always nervous about something going wrong. I was always nervous about something breaking. I was always nervous about something here or there. She was like, whatever. She was a don't worry about the down payment kind of person. She, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I was the opposite, but she was the one running things. If I had had money that whole time, I would have done things myself. It wasn't my house. I would have just fixed things and done everything so I wouldn't have to worry about it. So I've just lived with worry my whole life, and now it's just me. And it's like I live with worry. I'm still ineffectual in my life. I don't know how to be regular and get things handled, and I'm in a situation that's over my head. And it has been, so I was hoping for a clearing. And as time went on, as the lockdowns went on, it just got worse. I was hoping I was being forced to stay here and forced into the situation I was in because that meant something, or I was supposed to wait, or I was supposed to stay here. Because if it was just that things were too difficult and I couldn't get it done, then what is that? That you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And a lot of my life's been like that. After going to school and stuff, I didn't feel like I had a choice. Like I chose which college I went to. Right? Everything after that has felt like me reacting to the situations I'm in. like I said, through this, I was trying to plan. How come when it lands on the line and Djokovic hit it, it's in? When it hits the line and somebody else hits it, it's out. Because to me, that's what that looked like. So maybe this is why I like tennis. If you ever saw the movie Match Point, you could do whatever you want, but it again, it could be a tale of the tape, you know? Okay, so that was the third set. I'm gonna stop this stream, put my pants back on, and go see if the situation is worse or better. I know I'm whining and complaining all the time. I'm trying to figure it out. Or maybe for the other whiny, complaining people out there, it'll help them not feel like they're the only ones that are bad off. I don't know. Or somebody who's doing better than me will watch this and feel like, oh, she's worse than I am. I feel great now. I don't know. You know? I just feel like everybody should be as whiny and philosophizy as I am. And then maybe the truth of how bad things are would get out there. And people would stop being so harsh and stupid to people and give people 50 last chances, because everybody deserves 50 last chances, even if they didn't do anything wrong. But I had one chance, and that was it.